on just a few sectors for growth. So we need a responsible attitude to economic development, bolstered by a government that provides the infrastructure that we need. That, I believe, is the change that we need, and today I believe it is the Conservative Party that is offering it. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, David. David would like to chair his own question session, so I'm going to leave him to do that. It's my job to get him away at 10:50, so I'll just interrupt at that stage.
Thank you very much indeed. You've probably noticed the politician's normal trick: take questions in batches of 3 so you don't have to answer them. Did the Prime Minister do that this morning? Yeah, right, okay. I never do that. One question at a time. Please say who you are and where you're from. Sir. You mustn't let them get away with these tricks. They always do it. Sir, there's a microphone coming.
Abid Iqbal, former council member for the Birmingham Chambers of Commerce and Industry, member of the Policy Working Group and director of Say Arts, a CIC which promotes Sufi music. Good morning, Dave.
Morning.
I hope you didn't cross any red lights while cycling to the conference here today. But do you think it's sometimes a good idea for the opposition to remain quiet while the government is dealing with a financial crisis, advising the world on global solutions to global problems? Or is it best to grab the headlines in an attempt to score points at the expense of British businesses not getting a fair deal of focus and attention they deserve from government? Thanks.
I think what the opposition should do is to do the right thing. That's the most important thing. And to say what you think needs to be done, agree with the government when they get it right, and disagree when you think they've got it wrong. Now, on the bank rescue, I thought this was necessary. I thought it was important. And I thought actually it was important for the opposition to back up the government. It's a very difficult and slightly strange thing to do, to pour taxpayers' money into the banks, to take stakes in the banks. And I thought it was important for the Conservative Party to say very loud and very clear, we think the government's right, we support them. No one wants to put money into the banks, but the alternative of allowing the banks to fall over would have been a catastrophe. So we did support the government over that, and I'm proud that we did that. But that was never meant to be a blank cheque for everything the government has done. I said at the time that I announced that bipartisan support, that we didn't agree with them about debt, we didn't agree with them about their wider strategy, we don't agree with what they've done to the economy over the last decade. And what I've tried to do over the last few weeks is to set out very clearly what I think the government ought to do. And it's in my speech today. Much more active over monetary policy. You've got to get that money moving. You've got to be imaginative about how that happens. But I am very sceptical and very cautious about this idea of a giant fiscal stimulus. Not because I don't want it to happen, not because I don't want it to work. I wish that we had a big surplus in this country. I had the Chief Minister of Hong Kong in my office last week. He's got a huge surplus. He's distributing it. Good. I had coffee with the Swedish Prime Minister the week before last. He's got a surplus. He's distributing it. The fact is, we have got the biggest budget deficit of any country in the modern world, apart from, wait for it, Hungary, currently in with the IMF, Pakistan, currently in with the IMF, and Egypt, that so far seems to have escaped. That's why I'm warning about the costs, because I worry that what the government is doing is borrowing hugely for a short-term boost and then going to put up your taxes massively later. And I worry, what sort of stimulus is that? To borrow money now, to cut VAT at a time when prices are falling anyway, and then to whack everyone's taxes up just as we're trying to get out of recession. I don't think that is very stimulating, and I think the opposition is right to warn of the dangers when we're already so in debt. So the other thing politicians do is give long answers, and that was one. I'm very, very sorry. I'll try and be better. Sir.
Abid, I think the most important thing here is, I don't know what we do specifically as government, but I think the most important thing is to celebrate the work that people like yourself are doing. And that's a great role model for many people, not just within the Indian or Pakistani community, but across the country. And if you're really bringing overseas acts over to this country working out of a garage, that's great. And at some point, I know you'll be in a bigger set of premises and doing even bigger business. But I think the one thing that is helpful is sometimes when people like yourself are held up as role models to some of the younger people in the community, that can make a big difference. And it's great, and good luck to you, and I hope you do fine.